My name is Greg, and I'm one of the main drivers behind the Westshore Community of Practice, which is a relatively new expression of the United Church of Canada in the Pacific Mountain region. We are a church plant that's been around for a couple of years. It's now December of 2022, and we started in July of 2020. And we've hit a bit of a rhythm with a few of our offerings. The first of our regular offerings is the Contemplative Day Hike, which is about a 10 to 15 kilometer hike that we do once a month, somewhere in the area where we are, just outside of Victoria, BC, the territory of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples. And we hike, and we stop, and we take in the surroundings. We usually have communion, a reflection, maybe we'll sing up there. Maybe it's by the seaside or up at the mountaintop, but it's been a really great way to be together and to be with God and in creation. Another one of our major offerings is Campfire Church, which we also do once a month. And it's right here on our land at our house, around this campfire where we sing and tell stories and remember the teachings of Jesus. We also go for a child-friendly contemplative walk every week, and that's been a fun opportunity to head down to the water or around every week with the kids. People often ask if this is the new way of doing church. I like to think of it as the ancient way of doing church. Gathering outside, gathering at people's homes. There's nothing new about this. It's maybe unusual these days, but it's certainly nothing new. The campfire has been calling humans together since humans were on 2 feet, maybe even before that, who knows? But it is certainly a way of being together that I find to be authentic and helps me and others to connect to God, to the sacred. So while it's not a new way of being church, I believe it will be an integral part of being the body of Christ in the future. It's wonderful when we can be in beautiful buildings with gorgeous architecture and stained glass windows to worship. But God is equally as present outside. In fact, many of us connect more readily when we're outside and when life is at its simplest, we might say. Now, it's not without its challenges doing things this way. We've had our share of rain and wind. We weren't immune to the pandemic. And it's not that we have a clear path to financial sustainability either. We've been operating on a grant, and we hold much gratitude for the people who originally raised that money and then eventually sold a building to allow for this to happen. And that's not the way that this can be for everyone, for all ways. So we'll need to crack that nut eventually, just like every congregation is figuring out. This year we've experimented and succeeded with holding a couple of family retreats at the United Church camp nearby on Shawnigan Lake, Camp Pringle. It's been wonderful to be away from the busyness of the typical weekend and to be by the lake with just our group in God's presence, to give thanks and to let the kids rip around and the adults to have some conversations that we haven't been able to have for a while. I'm especially excited about the first grant that we've had from Seeds of Hope to run in July of 23, our pilgrimage to Cape Scott, which will be a coming-of-age rite of passage hike from San Joseph Bay to the ocean, to reflect, to have some contemplative practices, some physical challenge also, that's all good, and for teens and young adults to step into or take a few steps toward adulthood. Most of what we do flows from a theology of incarnation. God gave us these amazing bodies, and these bodies give us unique insight into God's fullness. We organized a workshop accessing the wisdom of the body, which was really meaningful and insightful for a lot of people. We've also rented the local school gymnasium a couple of times just to get together and socialize, but with our bodies involved, playing basketball or dodgeball. We hope this tradition continues. There's a freedom that comes from doing things differently. There's also a certain responsibility of wanting to get it right. Fortunately, if we can stay open to experimentation and stay true to a vision, which is a vision of God's kingdom here on this earth, supporting us now and for whatever comes after. And if we pursue that vision faithfully, then we can rest assured that we have done the work of Christ. No doubt new challenges will arise, and I'm confident that with God we can forge the kind of community of which Jesus would be proud, where people come together to uncover the God within, to be authentic to each other, to strive to protect what is good and right and beautiful. So we ask for your prayer, your support. We invite you to attend the things that we're up to, if that works for you. Ultimately, we invite your goodwill, and we invite God's blessing upon you.